Thank you so much. Almost sounds like I've written the introduction. It's been such an inspirational evening, I find. Many inspirational speakers. And I wanted to start off with entrepreneurship and what it means to me, or how I feel about entrepreneurship. If I think about entrepreneurship, to me it feels like being an airplane pilot. Let that sit a little bit. It's like being an airline pilot. And I reflect on an evening. It was the first launch evening of a tech company that I founded with some friends. This is in 2010. We worked in our startup for 12 months. We were there. We're super excited. Our app, when it launched, was our customers got in touch with us via phone. So we couldn't be in an app store. They had to reach our website and give us a call. And on that evening, I was sitting there with my two other co-founders, with our drivers, cash in hand to make these takeaway deliveries. And we're waiting for the phone calls to come in. And we're waiting. And it was a little bit like tumbleweed in a desert. Nothing came in. But then the phone rang. And I was the first one. I was like, oh, phone is ringing. Takeaway taxi, good evening, you're speaking with Flavio. How may I take your order? And, oh, hey son, how are you? How's it going? I was like, oh, yeah, we're really busy. It's super exhausting. It's taking off. And this story I keep on reflecting on because it's a prime example of what entrepreneurship can be like. Because you work your butt off for 12 months and you sit there with your friends holding hands, waiting for orders to come in, and the only person supporting you is going to be your mum. And that evening, I took that as a bit of an inspiration, and I got really fascinated with how do you actually build a successful tech company? Like, how do you actually build a company that's profitable, that's sustainable, and also scalable at the same time? And best of all, maybe even have impact in the environment, larger and wider than just yourselves. It was then where I joined a few different tech accelerators and tech incubators as one of their team members, helping other people grow their companies. And I got to go to Silicon Valley, San Francisco, see some of their companies and what they do over there. I also had the opportunity to go check out Berlin, not just for the techno and electronic dance music, but also to check out their tech stars and their technology companies over there. And I found a couple of common threads that keep repeating throughout. And I call them the 4 founder traps. Not the music trap, traps. Keeps going back to music. The first one is the investment trap. And there is this misconception that in order to start, we need money, we need capital. I think it couldn't be further from the truth. What we see in PR and in news media is that everybody raises these huge capital rounds, raising $30 million, but it's actually not necessary to get started and get off the ground. And so there's this misconception that you need to be getting investment. You don't need that. That's the first one. The second one is the product development trap. And as founders, we love being creative. Entrepreneurs love being creative. We love doing things. We love doing things with our hands. And the way we measure process and outcomes is by the amount of lines of code that we write. How beautiful the packaging looks for our new product. How beautiful our logo looks, our business cards. And that's how we measure our outcome and our process. But you still don't have any customers. Which leads me to the third trap. And that is the product diffusion trap. And we've spent so much time and resource in developing our products that we actually forget to develop our market and our customers. And I find that we need to develop our product at the same time as we develop our market. It's a concurrent action. We need to do both things at the same time. And leads me to the last one, the last trap, and that is the scalability trap. oftentimes, and I've heard some other speakers say this before, you focus on one or two customers, you develop a product that's super bespoke, but it doesn't actually fit anyone else. No one else can make use of your product, which means now your business is unscalable. And oftentimes, and I see this over and over again, you create yourself a full-time job, which is the first thing you went into business for yourself for, but you ended up right back where you started. Oftentimes, without holiday pay, and lots of hours that you need to work. So going back to this quote in the beginning, entrepreneurship is like being an airplane pilot. And if you think of being an airplane pilot, you're sitting in the cockpit, and before you take off, you need to understand where that destination is. And Mahesh mentioned it earlier on. You need to understand the vision, and he's got a series of questions that he goes through with his founders before he even gets started. And like an airplane captain, you need to understand where the destination is. Because if it's overseas and it's global, you need a bigger plane. You need a lot more jet fuel. But if you're just going over to Waiheke Island, maybe you can even swim if you're feeling athletic on that day. And the second one is you need to have a long enough runway. The bigger your plane, the more of a runway you need. Because you need to get momentum to get liftoff to take off. And once you are in the air, once you've taken off, you need to make sure you keep track and keep looking at all your dashboards that tell you what is happening to your plane, what is happening to the air pressures, and most importantly, how much fuel you've got left. So entrepreneurship to me is a little bit like being an airplane pilot. And if you have the opportunity here to surround yourself with a community of people who cheer you on like your mum would, then do that. And I think there's a great opportunity coming up in the next week, in September, which is almost next week. Startup Weekend, where you get to hang out with like-minded people who have been airplane pilots, who understand how to get liftoff. And Startup Weekend is a great opportunity for you to spend 3 days finding your first customers, building a team, finding co-founders, and maybe get investment ready. But as you learned today, you don't need investment, you just need customers. But thank you for an amazing evening.